This is, the ultimate power, really. Huey Newton said, "To us, power is, first of all, the ability to define phenomena, and secondly, the ability to make these phenomena act in a desired manner." How is the media not doing that? Defining what is, and then telling us what we should think about it. For example, Fox News. We've been talking about the media on the program for the last hour here, and how did we get here, and what can we do to get out of here? But there's one particular corner of the media that is particularly problematic, shall we say. And that's where you've got a single billionaire, Rupert Murdoch, who Kevin Rudd, the former Prime Minister of Australia, referred to as a cancer on Australia's democracy, who owns more than half the papers in Australia, then left Australia. He was an Australian. He left Australia and went to the UK and bought a bunch of newspapers there and TV networks and whatnot, and then left the UK and came to the United States and built Fox News with Roger Ailes' help and Murdoch's money. And this History News Network commentary, I mean, this is like when the History News Network is doing a story like this, you know that there's something going on here. The title of the article is "Fox News viewers literally have no idea how bad things are under Trump." And it's a story about, well, it starts out by saying, basically average Americans have contempt for Trump supporters. Many Americans, and the media seems to too. Oh, they're rubes, they're dumb, they're rednecks, fill in the blank, right? And this historian over on History News Network is saying, you're pointing in the wrong direction. These people are not the facilitators, the empowerers of Trump's lies and egotism, or for that matter, the Republican Party's lies and egotism, although they don't specifically call out the Republican Party in this piece. That would be Fox News, that has built an infrastructure on which Donald Trump became president and has been able to maintain his presidency. And and in fact, it says, the Trump supporters did not create the pro-Trump narrative. They are the recipients of it. They are the victims of it. So we need to have some compassion, I guess. But then they say, okay, let's just pick a day and do a deep dive into the media. What's going on in all the media in America, and then what happened on Fox News that day. And so they randomly picked December 20th, and December 20th turned out to be the day, actually I'm not sure it was randomly picked, but they picked December 20th. And that happened to be the day that Trump said that he was going to, or it was the day after Trump tweeted that we were going to pull out of Syria. That was the day that Mattis turned in his resignation letter and blasted Trump. That was the day that Donald Trump told Congress that, if they just passed that bill that was in the Senate that kept the government open until February, as I recall, maybe even until March, that if they just passed that bill, everything would be good. This was the day before, apparently, Laura Ingraham and Rush Limbaugh got on him, and he suddenly decided to take the entire country hostage for his wall. But December 20th was also the first day that the stock market tanked in a big way, and it did it on this news that Donald Trump was going to reverse his position on keeping the government open. So this was, a relatively big news day. It was the first day that we learned that Trump may actually shut the government down. It was the first day that that we learned about the details of Mattis's resignation, all that kind of stuff. So those were big stories, and it was the worst week. Literally, this was a Thursday. That Friday, the next day, the Wall Street closed with its worst week since the financial crisis in 2008. Now, you would think that these are huge stories, and of course, all the other media thought they were huge stories. Back to History News Network. Fox News television viewers got almost no sense of this mounting crisis. Shows hosted by Martha McCallum, Tucker Carlson, Dan Bongino, sitting in for Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham, directed viewers' attention to other matters. Well, what are those other critical matters? Commentators asserted, falsely, the Democrats advocated open borders. Fox's primetime programming highlighted stories about an immigrant invasion. They accentuated a report about a violent, undocumented immigrant in California. In each program, hosts and commentators left viewers with the impression that the big news of the day was security threats from aliens. Martha McCullum had this long interview with Susan Collins about aliens and extremists who don't like Brett Kavanaugh. Tucker Carlson drew attention to the work of Robert Shibley, who maintained that America's universities have been pushing against free speech. And he also took shots at the climate tax and made fun of claims about Russian interference in the election. Dan Bongino blasted Attorney General Rod Rosenstein's defense of the so-called Russia investigation. And Laura Ingraham devoted considerable time to immigration. This is, and they go on to say, I mean, this is the History News Network. General Mattis's resignation letter hardly got a nod. The outcry by national and international leaders regarding Trump's plan to withdraw from Syria and Afghanistan received little to no attention on Fox News. The impact of a government shutdown on the American economy was completely ignored. There was hardly a word about the stock market's plummet. Instead, viewers heard about scary threats from immigrants, scary threats from Democrats, scary threats from university administrators, and scary threats from Chinese hackers. They were often reminded that President Trump fights tenaciously for ordinary Americans. Kevin Rudd was right, the former Prime Minister of Australia. Rupert Murdoch is a cancer on democracy, and on our democracy too, in my humble opinion. So how do we deal with this? What do we do about it? How do we treat our friends and neighbors who have tuned into this propaganda channel? And sadly, many of them did for the same reason that I would watch Fox on a weekend or in the evening, because CNN is not doing news programming. And MSNBC is not doing news programming. I don't want to watch lockup documentaries or old Anthony Bourdain segments. I'd like to know what's going on in the world. And Fox actually, programs news 24/7. Or at least what they call news. And people get sucked into this. They get duped into it. And they think, oh, that's what's going on.